Hello, beautiful souls, and thank you so much for joining us for Mindful Yoga this week. My name is Angela Landers, and I am a counselor in the Statesboro Counseling Center. And I'm going to do the beginning part of today's Mindful Yoga class, and then we will be joined by video with Dr. Gemma Skuraton, who will be doing the second part of today's class and the physical movement part. So today what we're going to focus on is mindfulness, and you may or may not be really familiar with what mindfulness is. If you've ever been to Mindful Yoga, then you definitely have heard us talk about it quite a bit. Another thing that you've probably heard us say a lot if you've been to Mindful Yoga is that meditation is not about clearing your mind, but rather focusing it. And I would say that that's a pretty good definition for mindfulness too. We're not really looking at clearing everything out of our minds, but we are looking at focusing our attention when we talk about mindfulness. So why that's relevant right now? Obvious reasons, right? There's a lot of things that are competing for our attention right now, and it's really tempting to let our minds just go all over the place. Our minds can be a little bit like a puppy that is just kind of going wild on a leash, right? Paying attention to everything, going in a million different directions. And while that's not always bad, it's also not always really helpful. It's particularly really challenging for us to focus and concentrate when our mind is running all over the place, paying attention to all kinds of automatic thoughts that are popping up or all kinds of environmental sounds that might be something that we become aware of. So mindfulness is not about trying to get anything perfect. A lot of times when people think about practicing a skill like mindfulness or practicing meditation, there's this thought about perfection. It needs to be perfect. If I don't pay attention on whatever it is I'm supposed to pay attention to, let's say that it's the sound of a bell or something, and my mind starts to wander, we tell ourselves that we're doing it wrong. But really, that's not the case. Mindfulness is always about catching that, realizing that our mind has started to wander, and then bringing it back, making a conscious decision to intentionally say, I don't approve. You got to come back. You got to think about this, right? So as we're all kind of sitting around, still trying to be productive, still trying to mark tasks off of our to-do list, it's really important that we practice some of this mind catching, that we practice this skill of noticing, wait a minute, I was trying to do my math here and all of a sudden my mind has started to wander and now I'm thinking about cute kittens, right? Although that might be more fun for you, it's not really going to help you be productive. And let me pause to say that I don't think all of us need to try to be super over the top productive right now. But what I am saying is that all of us do have certain tasks that need to get done. And if we're not able to do those tasks, there could be some pretty severe consequences to that, like not passing a class or not making the grade to keep our GPA where it needs to be. So this skill is really important right now. So how do we do that? It seems like it would be a really complicated thing to do, but it's really not. It's mostly about having self-awareness and setting the intention to pay attention to something. So a lot of times we just think that, okay, I sit down, I've got my books in front of me, I've got my computer in front of me, I know what I need to do, I'm just going to do it. And then we notice ourselves sitting back later and saying, wait a minute, I'm not doing any of the things that I meant to be doing. My mind is all over the place. What is going on right now? So even though it would be really nice if we could just sit down and then our mind would focus and cooperate and do all the things we want it to do, we all know that that's not realistic all the time. So mindfulness is about setting that intention to say, hey, I know that being human means that my mind is just going to wander a little bit. That's okay. That's normal and it's to be expected, particularly when times are difficult and uncertain like they are right now. But mindfulness says that we have the ability to take the reins. We have the ability to say, hey mind, you get to think about that, but you don't get to think about it right now. So setting that intention when you sit down to study or focus or complete schoolwork or whatever it is that you need to be productive and get done, setting that intention will really help you to say, okay, this is what my goal is, and this is how I'm going to achieve it. So that's the first step. And then the second step is paying attention and having that self-awareness to say, wait a minute, my mind wandered. It started to go off. Let me catch myself and then let me pull it back. Let me remind myself of what my task at hand is. There are a couple of tricks for how you can keep yourself really grounded with that as well. You might want to set a timer in your phone, and you might want to remind yourself every time you notice that your mind starts to wander, you remind yourself that you've got that timer going right now. And when that timer beeps, you're allowed to go back and think about whatever you were thinking about before. But for right now, every time you notice your mind's wandered, you come back. So that might be one trick or one way that you can kind of keep yourself settled. And just remember, this isn't about perfection. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to notice when you start to wander and then recommit to coming back to the present moment. A really great definition of mindfulness is one by Jon Kabat-Zinn. Mindfulness is about paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So when we commit to paying attention to the present moment, we can usually stay more mindful because we've let go of the past and we're not worrying about the future. We spend so much time not living in the current moment. And it's really important to also catch our mind whenever it does that as well. I'm not saying that we can always make it so that we never think about the past or we never think about the present. But this is about practicing. This is about coming back to that present moment, because usually when we're grounded in the present moment, it's easier to accept that moment and what it is in front of us that we have to do. So that's another good technique too, is don't let yourself be focused on step 10 right now. Focus on step 1. So allow yourself to say, okay, there might be 10 different pieces of this paper that I need to write, but for right now, I'm on step 1. Let me go back to step 1 instead of being worried about how difficult step 5 is going to be. It won't serve us well to live in the future in that way, and it really gets in the way of our present moment. So that's just a little bit about how you can use mindfulness right now. Keep it simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. Remember, mindfulness right now to help you focus and concentrate is really about 2 different things. Setting an intention, and then catching your thoughts and paying attention when those thoughts start to wander. So set your intention for whatever it is that you have in front of you and commit to that. And then have that self-awareness to catch your thoughts whenever they start to get off track. Thanks so much for joining us today. It was great to be with you. I hope all of you have a lovely practice, and I will see you here again next week. Bye, guys.
Hi, Eagle Nation. It's Dr. Gemma Skuraton here to bring you the physical practice of mindful yoga. You just heard from Angela Landers, counselor for the Counseling Center, a talk on mindfulness. So we'll go ahead and begin the physical practice by getting into a comfortable seated position. We're going to start with 3 Ujjayi breaths linked together. Ujjayi is your inner fire. So when you inhale, exhale, tongue comes to the roof of your mouth, you make that Darth Vader sound. Full inhales and full exhales. When you inhale, pull your navel into your spine. Inhale, 3 breaths. Good. Go ahead and meet me in child's pose. Knees come wide to the edge of the mat. Big toe mounds touch. Reach your arms out in front of you. Forehead to the mat. Sink back onto your heels. Tap into your Ujjayi breath. Take this time to set your intention for the practice. Much of your environment is likely not usual. Remember that just because we're socially distant doesn't mean we need to be emotionally distant. And it doesn't mean that we should be distant from ourselves, our emotional well-being. Set your intention to connect with yourself. Be mindful and present throughout the practice. Right now, you can feel underneath your fingertips connecting with the earth, tops of your feet connecting with the earth. With each inhale and each exhale, sink deeper into the pose. Deep inhales and deep exhales. Go ahead and walk your hands out to the left side. Feel the stretch through your right side body. Maybe cover your left wrist with your right arm. Emphasize your breathing. Notice the space between each rib. Your next exhale, walk your hands over to the right. Stretch through the left side body. Remember that yoga is the least judgmental physical activity that you will ever do. So if you sit in this position for the next 30 minutes, you will have successfully done yoga for a half hour. On your next exhale, slither onto your bellies. Lift your heart, lift your chest. Baby cobra. Elbows close to rib cage. Exhale to back, sit into child's pose. Inhale, slither onto your belly. Lift your heart, lift your chest. Exhale, shift back, child's pose. Inhale, slither onto your belly. If you're taking care of the low back, you can stay here in baby cobra or press all the way up through full cobra. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Deep inhale. And on your exhale, curl your toes under and press up through downward facing dog. Feet are shoulder width apart. And maybe, remember the point here isn't necessarily to get your heels to the floor, but to bring the stretch through your calf or your gastrocnemius, your soleus, and your Achilles tendon. So as long as you feel a stretch through the posterior portion of your body, the back of your body, you're doing it correctly. On your next inhale, drop to your knees. Hands underneath your shoulders. If you're taking care of your wrists, you can take wrists for fists. Knees underneath your hips. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your heart. Exhale, pull your belly up. Inhale to lower. Exhale to pull up. And on your next exhale, press up through downward facing dog. We're going to start through our chaturanga. Shift your weight forward, high plank. You have every option. Feel free to drop to your knees and lower down through low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra variation. Upward facing dog, thighs come off the mat. Exhale to back, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend your right leg out behind you. Sweep it through. Drop your left knee, twist open to the left. ahead and bring your arm into a bind, opening up through the anterior portion of your shoulder. Exhale your right hand down to the mat. Step up wide-legged forward fold. Deep inhale, exhale. Bring a little space between your upper and your lower jaw. Cross opposite elbows and hang in ragdoll. Feel free to rock side to side. Bringing a little bit of movement into this position. Inhale, walk your feet closer. And on your exhale, Tadasana Mountain Pose. Deep breath, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Walk or hop to the back of your mat. High to low plank. Move through chaturanga, lower down through low plank. Inhale to lift your heart. Upward facing dog or cobra variation. Exhale, tip back, downward facing dog. On your next exhale, extend your left leg out behind you. Sweep it through. Drop your right knee, twist open to the left. If it's in your practice, go ahead and bring your arm into a bind, opening up through the anterior portion of your shoulder. Exhale your hand down to the mat. Ground down through your front foot. Step it up, wide-legged forward fold. You can bend your knees a little or a lot. Rock side to side here. Shifting your weight. Walk your feet in, shoulder width apart. Inhale, lift halfway to prepare. Exhale to fold. Inhale, Tadasana Mountain Pose. Interlock your thumbs, big scoop. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, walk or hop to the back of the mat. Move through chaturanga. Remember, we will always meet in the same place, downward facing dog. So feel free to meet us there. On your next exhale, extend your right leg out behind you. Sweep it through, twist open. Drop your left knee. Bring your right arm down to the mat. Shift your weight back. Peel your front toes off the mat. Stretching through the front hamstring. Exhale, shift your weight back. Ground down through your front foot. Step it up through wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, Tadasana. Close your feet. Interlock your thumbs, big scoop. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, walk or hop through chaturanga. Meet me in downward facing dog. Inhale, extend your left leg out behind you. Sweep it through, drop your right knee, twist open to the left. You can bring your left arm behind you into a bind if it's in your practice. If you always look up, try looking down and vice versa. Changing your perspective. Inhale, shift your weight back, peel your toes off the mat. Stretch through the front hamstring. Inhale, shift forward. Ground down through your front foot. Step it up through wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, Tadasana. Close your feet. Interlock your thumbs. Big scoop. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Walk or hop through chaturanga. Meet me in downward facing dog. Inhale. Inhale, shift your weight to high plank. Feel free to drop to your knees and lower down slowly through low plank. Bring your arm down in front of you, forehead to the mat. Inhale to lift the left thigh off the mat. Supine twist behind. Tap the bottom of the left foot to the floor. Twist open. Relax your right ear on your right arm. Let gravity take your knee. Open through your hip. On your next exhale, roll onto your belly. Lift the left thigh off the mat. Twist open. Tap the bottom of the right foot to the floor. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, return. This time, bring your left arm behind you into a bind. And walk your fingertips up towards your neck. Exhale, release. Inhale, twist. Supine twist, scorpion. And if it's in your practice, walk your fingers up towards your neck. Exhale to release. Inhale, shift your weight back. Sit back on your heels, child's pose. Thumbs to the back of your neck, hands into Anjali Mudra. Big toe mounds touch. If your mind has wandered away, back to what you have to do today, the next site meeting you have, or the homework you have left, bring it back to the mat. Acknowledge those thoughts and remember to be present in the moment that you are. Tap into your breath. Think about breathing front to back, right to left, expanding your rib cage. Pulling your navel into the spine as you exhale. Your next inhale. Release your hands. Press up through downward facing dog. Extend your right leg out behind you. Sweep it through pigeon on the right. Feel free to stay lifted or fold over your front knee. Make sure your back leg is not sickled and your foot is flat. On your next exhale, roll on to your right hip, swing your left leg around. Turn your heart to your toes. Reach up, extend, and fold from your trunk. Keeping your spine in neutral. Remember, the point here is not necessarily to get your head to your knees, but to feel the stretch through your hamstring and your left side body or right side body with a neutral spine. So if you're collapsing your chest, open it. When you exhale, sink deeper. Exhale, lift. Go ahead and bring your left leg around. You can place the bottom of your foot in front of your knee or behind your knee. Twist open to the opposite side. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Open your chest. Exhale to release. Go ahead and plant your left foot. Press up through your right knee. Reach open, fallen angel. You can extend your left leg if it's comfortable. Exhale to release. Meet me in downward facing dog. Good news is you have 2 sides. The better news is you don't have 3 sides. So go ahead and extend your left leg out behind you. Sweep it through, pigeon on the left. Again, you can stay lifted or fold over your knee. There's a saying in yoga, when you want to leave the pose, that's when it truly begins. So embrace any discomfort. Being uncomfortable is where you grow. However, pain is never a good sign. So if you feel pain, ease off into your edge and focus on your breath. On your next exhale, roll onto your left hip. Swing your left leg around, right leg around. Turn your heart to your toes. Reach up and fold. On your next exhale, lift your heart. Plant the bottom of your foot either in front of your left knee or twist around. Twist open to the opposite side. And remember, if your shoulders are up by your ears, to press your scapula down and open your chest. Last round of breath. Go ahead and plant your right foot. Press up through fallen angel. Feel free to extend your right leg if it's comfortable. Exhale. Make your way onto your backs. Go ahead and bend your knees, knock your knees together, and walk your feet to the outside edges of your mat. Inhale, bring your arms into a T position. Let gravity take your knees to set your hips. Your next exhale, walk your feet up, underneath your knees, feet together, knees open like a book. Let gravity take your knees. Now your next exhale, bring your knees to 90 degrees. And drop both knees to the right, looking towards your left. Feel free to use your right arm behind your left knee to add extra supine twist. Exhale to release. Inhale, drop your knees to the other side, look towards your right. Exhale to release. Moving into Savasana, final relaxation pose. So go ahead and find a comfortable place. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable enough to do so. If you choose to keep your eyes open, focus your drishti or your gaze on one point above you. And remember, meditation is never about clearing your mind, but rather focusing it in a productive place. I invite you to pause the video to take as much time as you need in Savasana. And after you've had enough time in Savasana, you can turn your video on to meet us here. Go ahead and start wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Maybe one final stretch with your arms above your head. Growing 25 feet long, and when you're ready, roll on to one side, cradling your head in your arms. When you're ready, use your hands to press up to a comfortable seated position. And we'll seal the class just as we began. 3 Ujjayi breaths linked together. Inhale. Go ahead and bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. Thumbs to your third eye. May the rest of your week be filled with clear thought, remembering that the loudest voice that you will ever hear is the one within your own head. May it be kind and productive, and may you remember to extend compassion to yourself in the same way you would your best friend. Thumbs to your lips. May you always speak the truth and never be afraid to speak up or speak out for you or for someone else for fear of what your voice may sound like or for what other people may think. Thumbs to your heart. May you always remember the true translation of Namaste, which in Sanskrit means the light within me recognizes and appreciates the light within each of you. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in, yogis. Remember, we'll be posting videos every Wednesday and Friday during our normal mindful yoga time. Wednesdays at 4, Fridays at 11. We hope that you can join us and take this time to do something that is good for your overall self-care. Take care. See you on Friday.